We're here with bluesman and Grammy winner and Grammy nominee Cedric Burnside here in the KUVO studio today. Burnside won a Grammy for Best Traditional Blues Album in 2022 for his album I Be Tryin'. His album Descendants of Hill Country was nominated for a Grammy for Best Blues Album in 2016, and in 2018 his album Benton County Relic was nominated for a Grammy for Best Traditional Blues Album. In 2021, he received the National Heritage Fellowship awarded by the National Endowment for the Arts, the highest honor the U.S. government has for folk and traditional arts. His grandfather was R.L. Burnside, and Cedric has been carrying on the Hill Country blues tradition that R.L. helped develop over many years. Please welcome Cedric Burnside.
Getting mad when things don't quite go the way they want. They do crazy things out of spite, but it can take a toll on their life, on their life, on their life, on their life, on their life. It can really take a toll on. It can really take a toll on their life, on their life. People will lie in your face to get things to go their way, or even if they know it's not nice. Or it can take a toll on their life, on their life, on their life, on their life, on their life. It can really take a toll on. It can really take a toll on their life, on their life. It can really take a toll on. It can really take a toll on their life, on their life, on their life, on their life. It can really take a toll on. It can really take a toll on their life, on their life. Really take a toll on them. On their life, really take a toll on them. On their life, really take a toll on them. On their life, really take a toll on them. On their life, it can really take a toll on. It can really take a toll on their life. This next song is called You Got to Move. A song from Mississippi Fred McDowell. You got to move. You got to move. You got to move, child. You got to move. when the Lord gets ready, you gotta move, you gotta move. You may be high, you may be low, you may be rich, child, you may be poor. Oh, when the Lord gets ready, you gotta move, you gotta move. You see that woman out on the street, you see the policeman out on his beat. Oh, when the Lord gets ready, you gotta move, you gotta move. You see that woman out on the street, you see the policeman out on his beat. Oh, when the Lord gets ready, you gotta move, you gotta move. Oh, when the Lord gets ready, you gotta move, you gotta move. Oh, when the Lord gets ready, you gotta move, you gotta move. You gotta move, you gotta move. You gotta move, you gotta move. This next song is called Step In. I feel like a bird with broken wings. I can't fly back up in the trees. Like an addict fiending for crack, trying to break the habit, but it keep on coming back. Like a child crying all night long, hungry for some food, but it's all gone. Please, Lord, step in. Like I'm lost and can't be found. Boat with a hole that's slowly sinking down. Like a bully that put me to the test. Got me paranoid and I can't get no rest. Please, Lord, step in. slowly sinking down like a bully that putting me to the test. Got me paranoid and I can't get no rest. Please, Lord, step in.
Well, Cedric, thanks very much for coming down. My name's Jeff Anderson. I co-host the All Blues program that we do here on KUVO on Saturday afternoon. And so we sure like playing your stuff, and it's been a real treat to have you come down here today.
Thanks for having me. Glad I can make it.
Yeah, and you're in the midst of a couple of shows at the Globe Hall here in Denver.
Yeah.
And wanted to start off talking about the guitar that you brought here, because that all kind of mixes in with your show at the Globe Hall. Can you tell us what happened?
Well, during the show last night, since we got 2 nights there at the Globe Hall, we decided to leave everything there. They told it was okay, and we thought it would be, really good to not have to set it up a second time. And so I left all the guitars there, and I had this Gretsch with me, and I didn't think about to grab a couple of cue sticks and put back in the van. It was late and we wasn't thinking, so this Gretsch actually lost one of the resonators 2 nights ago, a night before we came to Globe Hall, and that's crazy, man. So it wasn't rattling like it was doing, today, but we kind of, had to pad it up a little bit and get it to where it, act a little bit better, So.
Yeah, he did some modifications with some high-tech paper towels, I think it was.
Mississippi style.
Okay. Yeah, you find what's available and you make it work, right?
Yeah. What? I don't know if you're familiar with MacGyver, but I think that's what we did today. We did a little MacGyver on it today.
Well, at least nothing blew up.
Yeah.
I think that happens a lot on MacGyver, doesn't it? Things blow up. Didn't happen
it wasn't
here.
Plugged in.
All right. I wanted to talk to you about the influence of your faith in your music. And now you did a couple of songs that would kind of fall in the gospel category. That Mississippi Fred McDowell, You Gotta Move, and Step In, which I think is one that you wrote.
Yes.
Yeah. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah. Well, just growing up through life, I always, love our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. I'm not going to say I always followed him, to the best of my ability. But I just like to let people know that, I love him, regardless of, what they feel about it or how they, see, the Lord. I'm not religious. I just love Jesus, and I try to incorporate him a little bit in my music. I didn't grow up going to church. Wasn't a church guy. Juke Joints was my church, was my school from 6, 7 years old until I was old enough to move out on my own, and just got baptized maybe a couple years ago, and gave my life to the Lord a little bit. I'm gonna say a little bit more than I have gave my life to the Lord. Stopped doing a lot of the things that I used to do. Stopped going a lot of the places that I used to go. And I'm just living life as it come to me now. And I try to put the Lord first in everything I do, travel, music, the places I go, the venues I go. I try to just, say a little prayer before I go on stage every night, me and my band. And, just try to incorporate him into more of the things I do in life. And that's not to say that I go out and preach to everybody, because I definitely don't do that. I just, if they ask me, I just tell them what, he has done for me in my life, and that's pretty much all I can tell them, from that day, that point. But yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a big part of my life.
I know there have been bluesmen that have struggled with the difference between secular music and sacred music. For example, Son House had a real struggle with that throughout his entire life.
Yeah.
He was a preacher and was concerned about the worldly aspects of blues and didn't play it for a while, and then he'd play it again.
Yeah.
Do you find that issue in your faith and the job that you have, playing the blues?
Well, when it comes down to blues, it's just the way you look at it. When you go through life is gonna give you the blues, whether you want it or not. And you can be a preacher, or you can just be a regular guy on the street. You can be a wino or whatever. Life is gonna throw you the blues. If you born into the blues, drinking alcohol, doing drugs, then you're born into the blues. But if you born a preacher's kid, and you grew up trying to live righteous, but you still go through the blues. You can go outside and you can cut your finger, it can take it a while to heal. That's the blues. You can drive up the road, your car quit on the side of the road, nobody there to pick you up, you're in the hot sun. That's the blues, however you want to call it. I don't just really read the Bible as much as I, want to, but just reading in Genesis and looking at, Moses bringing the people out of Egypt. I don't know what they would call it back then, but to me, it's the blues. You read the book of Psalms. The blues is all in the book of Psalms. So it's how you look at it in life. I think the whole Bible is blues to me, when I read it. And so the music I play is blues, but you're living to talk about things that you've been through, things that happened to you in your life. And if you read the Bible, they're doing the same thing, Well,
that's one reason that the blues has such a broad appeal is because, as you said, everybody gets the blues now and then, no matter what. You can try as hard as you can. You can have as much money as you want.
You can try to run from it, but you can't.
But you can't, yeah. Nobody can run fast enough. All right. We talked on the phone a while back, and we talked about your Big Daddy R.L. Burnside. But for this interview, can you tell us a little bit about his influence on you, both musically and in your life in general?
Oh, wow. Yeah. Very big, man. Just growing up as a kid, one of many grandchildren, I stayed with my Big Daddy, until I was old enough to move out on my own. My mom had 3 kids. I'm the oldest of 3. My sister is behind me, and I had a brother. Unfortunately, he passed 2012. And so now it's just my sister and I. But my Big Daddy was, he wasn't just my Big Daddy. He was like a father to me, He took care of his whole family. He was the backbone of the whole family, Growing up as a kid, 7, 8 years old, we stayed in this little shack house, and it had 4 rooms. And when I say 4 rooms, it literally had just 4 rooms. And we all just scattered about, where you can get a place to lay your head, that's where you lay, You make a pallet all around until you can, find your spot, And so that's how we came up, and my big daddy was doing sharecropping then. He was on the tractor, from morning to night, every day, that I can think about it. And every now and then, he might get a letter, like somebody might come up and say, "Hey, Ariel, somebody wants you to play at such and such a place." And he would go and talk to him on the phone, and it would be somebody want him to come overseas. And so he would go overseas, and sometimes he would stay over there a month and a half, 2 months. And of course, him being the backbone of the family, we missed him a lot. We had to haul water, we had to chop wood, sharpen the axes and all of that to make do until he got back,
And take care of the farm too.
Yeah, and take care of the farm.
The crops.
We had a few chickens, but during the sharecropping, it was mostly my uncles that was out there, really helping him doing all the sharecropping because we was quite young. But we used to go out there and learn. We used to pick the peas. We used to pour the corn. They used to show us how to do it, even as a little kid. But we never had to do it that much, real physical with it, because as we got, a little older, my big daddy, his music started to, take off. People started to get notice of the Hill Country blues, and of course he started to travel a little bit more, and that's how I got the chance to, start playing drums with him at age 13, And they used to throw house parties every other weekend, just to kind of make ends meet. He would have a little moonshine that he would sell, and and as he played,
he's got to make a living.
You got to make a living, man. And so he would throw those house parties, and I would be one of many grandchildren, just in amazement, man, wanting to get up there and and play. I loved that music. Even at 7, 8 years old, I loved it. I knew then that it's something that I wanted to do for the rest of my life. I knew at a young age.
And here you are.
And here I am.
You're doing it. Yeah. Well, your cousin Kent Burnside came through town a little less than a month ago, and he told stories about how he'd sell hamburgers to the crowd for $1 a piece.
Oh,
that
wow.
Kind of thing. And so that raises the question then that, you mentioned that there were a lot of Burnside grandkids.
Yeah.
And R.L. had a number of children himself. And the result is there are lots of Burnsides playing the blues these days. Do you know how many?
You got quite a few. My uncle Gary Burnside, we grew up, we very close in age. He's the youngest of my big daddy's sons. And he's 2 years older than me. And we grew up playing, together. And Dwayne and my uncle Daniel, they grew up playing, pretty much together. So it's about, some of them has, ceased since then, but it's about maybe 5 or 6. Yeah, about 6 of them left that still plays, the music and great at it, So it was a very, very musical family, very musical family.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah. And it's quite a legacy, both with the music itself and the songs that he wrote and the influence and that kind of thing.
Gotta thank him for it, man. R.L. Burnside. He opened the door.
Yeah, that's for sure. Now, you did a song by Mississippi Fred McDowell, and I know that he was quite an influence on R.L. Burnside. Did you ever get to meet McDowell?
I never did, man.
I know he was quite a bit older than you.
Yeah, of course. But he is one of the people that I really could have, really wish I could have got a chance to shake his hand and meet him. I used to hear my big daddy and my big mama call Fred all the time. They're like, Fred did this and Fred did that, and they would laugh and all of that. And I didn't know, what Fred they was talking about, but they was talking about Mississippi Fred McDowell. Because him and my big daddy was
such good friends. I remember my Big Daddy telling me, the story of them going out to do house parties together. And he would go in the back and shoot craps, and shoot the dice, and while Mr. Fred is up playing music for the crowd, And so when he get done, Mr. Fred would come back, and then he would go up and play music, and Mr. Fred would shoot dice, So they would swap out. And so when I got a little older, I realized it was Mississippi Fred McDowell that they was talking about. But I loved his music. My Big Daddy played his music for us a lot, and so I just fell in love with that old school sound as a young kid, and you wouldn't think that a kid my age would just fall in love with that type of blues like that. They would be into rap or, R&B or something like that. But I just loved it, I just loved it. And it's a big part of my life even today,
Well, it's the kind of music that just gets under your skin and gets in your soul.
Oh, yeah.
And there's
I agree.
nothing you can do about it.
I agree. Nothing you can do about it.
Kind of like getting the blues itself.
Yep, you're absolutely right.
All right. So, most musicians, before they get to the point where they can make a living off of music, had some kind of day jobs. You mentioned the farm in Mississippi. Did you have any other day jobs that you had to do to make ends meet while you were putting the music thing together?
Well, I had one job, man, my whole entire life. And to God be the glory. And I thank my Big Daddy, R.L. Burnside for that, because he's the reason I, made a good living. I worked at a Family Dollar, and it was close to the house in Holly Springs. We stayed on the outskirts of Holly Springs, about 15 miles away. And I had that job for maybe 2 months, and then we went back on the road and started traveling again. I got that job when I was about 16 years old. And even though I was traveling with my Big Daddy, we had to kind of slow down a little bit. And so I had to get a job to, make a little money until we go back on the road. And but once we went back on the road, it was pretty steady, so I didn't have to go back to that job.
Well, that's great. So you've been pretty much able to make a living in the music business from the beginning.
That's why I said I thank R.L. Burnside,
Yeah.
Thank the Lord and him, because he made the way,
All right. Well, you're very lucky in that way. You mentioned the house parties, and I think I saw something about your plans or maybe hopes to start your own juke joint. Can you tell us about that?
Correct. Well, I tried to start that juke joint a couple of years ago in a little town called Ripley, but it didn't turn out too good. The landlord, he was a little bit too old to, get the building up to par. So we tried, but just didn't happen. But I didn't give up hope. My wife and I was blessed enough to purchase 37 acres of our own, and so I'm planning on sooner than later putting a juke joint on that 37 acres somewhere. So
okay,
y'all could come on down and juke a little bit.
Absolutely. Yeah. I've never done that, but I think I need to put that on my bucket list.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna try to make it happen.
All right. Well, good deal. We'll keep an eye out for that and find out when it gets going. Wanted to ask you about Widespread Panic. Now, that's a band that's pretty popular around here in Colorado. They annually come out and play 3 nights in Red Rocks.
Yeah,
I think they have the record for the most sellouts at Red Rocks, something like that. But you've done some work with those guys. Can you tell us about that? What that was like?
I have. Me and my Big Daddy, opened up for him at the Coliseum in Memphis a few times. And I actually went on the road with JoJo Herman, the piano player with Widespread Panic. Me and JoJo is really, really great friends. He's from Oxford, Mississippi. Well, Taylor, Mississippi. And we always been, really cool with each other. So I think around 2003, 2004, I went on the road with JoJo, and he had, it was Smiling Assassins was his band. And
Smiling
Assassins.
Smiling Assassins.
Yeah,
okay.
that's the
Cute.
name of his band back then.
Very delicate. Yeah.
And he had Luther Dickinson and Cody Dickinson, playing rhythm with
From
him,
the North Mississippi All-Stars.
North Mississippi All-Stars. And I was playing with Kenny Brown, and we had a Japanese bass player named Takeshi Yomera. And we went on tour for about a month and a half, and toured with JoJo. Then he got back and he went back on the road with Widespread, But I've been knowing those guys for a pretty good while. It's been a minute since I saw them, but we have done a lot of things together.
Smiling Assassins. That does sound vaguely familiar. Are there some recordings from that band? Sounds like a pretty hot band.
I think so. I forget who the bass player was with JoJo at that time. But I know Luther was playing the guitar and Cody was on drums. And I forget who the bass player was, but that was the name of his band back then, the Smiling Assassins.
Speaking of bass players, whatever happened to Chris Chu? I haven't seen him around lately.
It's been a minute for me, too. Chris actually hit me up on Facebook. It's been a little while, maybe 6 months or so ago. He's still playing every now and then.
Okay.
But he drive buses. Yeah.
Okay, he got a day job.
Yep, got a day job.
Yeah, and just so everybody knows, he was the bass player for North Mississippi All-Stars for quite a while.
Yeah, amazing bass player. Still is right now.
Yeah, that's right. A lefty.
Yeah. Yep, that's right. Big man. I call him Big Chew.
Yeah, that's right. He's a big guy. Yeah, I think he's bigger than both Cody and Luther put together.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yes.
Wanted to ask you about your acting career. You've done a little bit of acting. Can you tell us about that?
A little bit. I have to say, man, I've been enjoying it. I never thought I would be, really, really acting in the film, especially being the main character. But my first part of it was, 2006, when I did a Black Snake Moan, and with Samuel Jackson. And, I took a liking to it then. I wasn't in the movie that long, but it was cool just to be, a part of something like that. And so I did a movie in 2019 called Texas Red, and I was the main character in that movie. And I really took a liking to it even more, doing it then. And so, I'm just... Hopefully, I'll be in more, in the future.
So more in the future, hopefully.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, all right.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So here you are in Denver. It's a long ways from Mississippi.
Quite.
And we've got a couple things going here. One is the elevation at a mile high.
Yeah.
And the other is not quite as much humidity as you might get in Mississippi.
Oh, yeah. You're right about that.
Has that affected you when you're playing at all?
Since I've been coming to, Colorado for a while now, I have learned to kind of adjust, with the altitude. Every now and then, I'll feel it just a little bit, but my band, they feel it a little bit more. So I have to tell them, you have to keep drinking water, and good thing we don't drink, so... tell them the alcohol ain't real good for it.
It can be a bad combination if you're not used to the elevation and you have some beer. Yeah.
But it's been cool. It's been really good. I like Colorado. I love the mountains. I love coming here and just having fun and getting out of the humidity of Mississippi.
Well, I thought people that grew up there liked it that way.
Yeah, well, sometimes it can be cool, but sometimes, not so cool.
A little too much, huh? Well, speaking of elevation now, you're coming to the Jazz Aspen Festival in Aspen in a few weeks, and that gets up to over 8,000 feet. So
wow.
better get the band prepared for that one.
All right. I definitely will.
and I have to tell you that I was in Aspen, and that's the first time that I heard the North Mississippi All-Stars, probably around 2000 or so. And at that point, I wasn't really familiar with hill country music, and went to see them, and it was January. I think I was up there on a ski trip or something, and so we went to see them in the evening. cold and high, and I think it was about 4 below outside.
Oh, wow.
And they sang "Going Down South" with the line about "I'm going down south where the chilly wind don't blow." And I'm thinking, yeah, these guys, that means something to them tonight.
Yeah, they're trying to get out that wind.
Yeah, that's for sure. Or just get out of the outdoors at all. Wind doesn't have to blow too hard at 4 below to
Oh, wow.
get through you. All right.
4 below.
We sure appreciate you coming down,
Hey.
Mr. Burnside.
Thanks for having me, man.
We wish you the best in the future, and I'm looking forward to coming down to your juke joint in Mississippi as soon as you get that going sometime in the next couple of years.
I keep you posted.
All right. Sounds great. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.